Let's explore some legendary games that vanished too soon. Star Wars Galaxies? Gone. City of Heroes? Poof. The feeling you are about to experience can be linked to social identity theory. This theory posits that individuals derive part of their identity from the social groups they belong to, such as gaming communities. The loss of these games can feel like a loss of a part of one's identity or community, further intensifying the nostalgic feelings. These weren't just games, they are digital time capsules. These games gave us stories we still tell fondly. Star Wars Galaxies, the MMO that actually let you live out your wildest Star Wars fantasies before Disney even knew what to do with the franchise. This game made you feel like you actually lived in the Star Wars universe. Want to be a dancer in a cantina? Done. Bounty hunter tracking real players across multiple planets? Absolutely. Moisture farmer living your best Luke Skywalker life? The game had you covered, but the real magic happened when they added space combat. Not that on-rails stuff other games try to pass off. We're talking full control of your ship, dogfighting in asteroid fields, and customizing your ship until it barely qualified as spaceworthy anymore. The crafting system was so deep you could actually make a living just being an armor smith. People would seek you out specifically because you made the best Mandalorian armor in the galaxy. And let's not forget the player cities. You and your guild could literally build your own settlement from the ground up, though sometimes you'd log in to find your beautiful city had become a Tusken Raider's favorite new target practice spot. Sure, the game had its rough patches, like that one update that made everyone mad because they completely changed how Jedi worked. But even then, it was still more Star Wars than that time Palpatine somehow returned. The graphics somehow managed to capture the Star Wars vibe, despite running on technology that had less power than today's calculators. The character models were, well, let's just say they had personality. Your character's face looked like it was carved from a potato using a rusty spoon, but hey, at least you could tell it was supposed to be human, usually. But where the game really shined was the environments. Those twin suns setting over Tatooine, pure magic. The forests of Endor, they actually made you feel like you were in Return of the Jedi, minus the Ewoks throwing rocks at your head. The particle effects for blaster fire and force powers were surprisingly good for their time. Sure, by today's standards they look like someone throwing sparklers, but back then, mind-blowing stuff. When jump to lightspeed dropped, seeing your ship zoom through hyperspace was enough to make you forget about your character's weird potato face entirely. The soundtrack of Star Wars Galaxies did exactly what it needed to do, make you feel like you were living in an actual Star Wars movie. The cantina music was spot on, making you feel like you were actually in the Mos Eisley Cantina. Though after your 100th hour as a dancer, you probably heard that particular track in your sleep. The combat music knew exactly when to kick in, ramping up the intensity when you were fighting krayt dragons, and perfectly capturing that Star Wars combat feel when you were dogfighting in space. The servers got unplugged on December 15th, 2011, because LucasArts forgot to renew their Sony Online Entertainment subscription. It's like when you forget to pay your Netflix bill, except this time, it was an entire galaxy far, far away. City of Heroes, the game that let us live out our superhero fantasies before Marvel movies made spandex mainstream. Before World of Warcraft had us all farming gold like it was our second job, there was this absolute gem that dropped in 2004. City of Heroes had a character creator so detailed you could spend longer designing your hero than some people spend on their dating profiles. Want to be a fire-throwing teenager with daddy issues? Done. An alien ninja who moonlights as a psychic? Do it. The character creator was so addictive, some players never actually made it into the game. They just kept making new heroes like they were collecting Pokemon. The combat system? Chef's kiss. None of that boring tab-targeting nonsense where you watch your character auto-attack while you browse Reddit. No, you were actually doing superhero stuff, flying through the city while cosplaying as Thor with anger management issues. Paragon City was basically New York, if it was designed by comic book artists hopped up on energy drinks. And the community was something else. Atlas Park was basically superhero Comic-Con every day. Players strutting around like, oh, this old cape? Just something I threw on, while secretly having spent 3 hours coordinating their color scheme. The game looked like it was rendered on a toaster by today's standards, but somehow still managed to blow our minds back in 2004. The engine was crazy, though it handled hundreds of heroes all doing their thing at once. Picture Times Square during New Year's, but everyone's shooting lasers and throwing buses. The textures might have been rough, but nobody cared when they were too busy living out their superhero dreams. The effects were pure eye candy. Every power combination lit up the screen like a rave party gone wrong, and that absolute banger of a soundtrack. The orchestral pieces make you feel like you're about to save the world. Every zone had its own musical vibe. In 2004, it immediately had servers more packed than a subway car during rush hour. Players were creating heroes faster than you could say spandex. By 2005, the game was crushing it so hard that NCSoft launched City of Villains. Finally, a chance to be the bad guy without having to camp spawn points or ninja loot raids. Then 2012 hit, and NCSoft dropped the shutdown bomb. But here's the thing, the community said nah. They organized, they planned, and they brought the game back through private servers. Because apparently, shutting down servers is like trying to tell your mom you're just tired. It doesn't work. Today, thousands still play on these private servers. Around that same time, The Matrix Online launched, and we all got to cosplay as Neo without the leather pants chafing. The story wasn't just some throwaway plot either. The Wachowskis themselves gave it their blessing as the official Matrix continuation. That's right, all your in-game shenanigans were technically canon. The combat system was ridiculous, in the best way possible. You could program your own martial arts moves like some kind of digital Bruce Lee. Want to recreate that scene where Neo fights Smith while looking incredibly smug? Done. Though most of us ended up looking more like we were having a seizure. The faction system had three choices: Machines, Zion, or Merovingian, or as most players called them, the Robots, the Ravers, and the Fancy French Dude. The Matrix Online's graphics, a perfect example of 2005's most ambitious visual dreams. The character creator was surprisingly robust for its time. You could craft your digital self with a level of detail that would make Neo proud, from trenchcoat physics to custom sunglasses that actually reflected light. Sure, some of the face options made you look like you'd taken the wrong pill, but hey, it was 2005. The city environments were a real achievement. Megacity stretched out like an endless urban jungle, with neon signs cutting through the perpetual night and rain effects that actually looked decent. The draw distance was impressive too. You could see other players doing their kung fu routines from blocks away. The composers took everything we loved about Don Davis's original Matrix score and cranked it up to 11. But they didn't just copy-paste, they built something uniquely digital. Remember logging in for the first time and hearing that menu theme?
You can hack a security camera to get a visual. Got it. Picture will be up in a second.
In June 2009, Sony Online Entertainment pulled the plug on the Matrix Online when player numbers dropped. The final shutdown came on August 1st, 2009, with fewer than 500 players still jacked in. Marvel Heroes, one of the most underappreciated superhero games that ever graced our screens. The gameplay was basically Diablo with capes, and it worked perfectly. You could play as anyone from Iron Man to Squirrel Girl. Yes, Squirrel Girl. The best part? They actually nailed the feeling of each hero. Thor felt powerful, Spider-Man was agile and witty, and Deadpool was, well, Deadpool. The amount of detail they put into each character's powers and animations was insane. They even had raids where you could take down Surtur with your friends. That's right, actual raid content in an action RPG. Every repulsor blast, shield throw, and web swing sounded exactly like you'd hope. It was like they pulled the audio straight from the movies and comics somehow. Marvel Heroes understood that a superhero game needs more than just flashy graphics. It needs a soundtrack that makes you feel like you're actually saving the world. And boy, did they ever deliver on that front. Marvel Heroes got Thanos snapped out of existence when Disney yanked the license, and Gazillion went broke faster than Peter Parker's bank account. The servers went dark on November 27, 2017, leaving players with nothing but screenshots and regret. Welcome to the world of Silent Hills, aka PT, where PT stands for Pretty Terrifying, or Please Therapy. Silent Hills is like that one friend who always knows how to push your buttons, except instead of annoying you, it's determined to make you wet your pants. The Fox engine made this game look so real. I was checking my closet for creepy ghost girls for weeks, and that baby crying sound, good lord. PT has inspired so many games. It's like the horror genre's cool older sibling. You know, the one who introduced you to punk rock and existential dread. It's not about jump scares. It's about making you question your life choices that led you to play this game at 2 a.m. It's got ambient sounds that'll make you think your house is haunted, and industrial noises that'll have you Googling how to unhear things. That unsettling baby cry? Yeah. Good luck ever hearing a real baby again without having Vietnam-style flashbacks. The hype was real. But then Konami pulled the plug. Kojima and Konami's breakup was messy. Creative differences, budget issues, it was like watching your favorite sitcom couple split up, but with more lawyers and less laugh tracks. But in 2015, it vanished from the PlayStation Store, leaving us all feeling like we'd been dumped via text. The aftermath? PT became the gaming equivalent of Bigfoot. Everyone talks about it, but good luck finding it. Konami even tried to erase it from existence, like that embarrassing MySpace profile you can't delete. Now, if you're one of the lucky ones who downloaded PT before it pulled a Houdini, congrats! You can still play it on your PS4. Just don't delete it, or it'll be gone faster than our hairlines. Some folks are even selling PlayStation 4s with PT pre-installed. It's like buying a time machine, but instead of going back to your youth, you're revisiting your nightmares. For the rest of us peasants, there are fan-made remakes and mods available for PC. They're like the store brand cereal to PT. Not quite the same, but it'll do when you're desperate for a fix. If you loved PT and are looking for more ways to traumatize yourself, try Amnesia or Visage. You need to watch this video about the downfall of Ubisoft. And remember, seek to learn, not judge.